Hello, everyone. Thank you for visiting us. Today, we'd like to talk about the emergence of collective intelligence, a functional systems approach. This is a joint project, theory project between me and Anita at the Tepper School of Business at Carnegie. So, we begin with what is collective intelligence? Collective intelligence is essentially a measure of a team's ability to perform across a wide range of tasks. This has been measured psychometrically by subjecting a team to a battery of different tests. For example, if you see team one that performs very well across 5 or 6 different tasks is considered to be a higher intelligence than team two that has a very high performance on one task but not on the others. This is quite important, like understanding how high performance on a specific task, that is specialized intelligence, is different. One way to think about it is that the contribution of performance at a specific task is proportional to the complexity of the task itself. So to understand collective intelligence, we'll need to think about and understand what is task complexity. So how does one characterize task complexity? In a non-binary sense, complexity is now defined as a joint function of 3 different types of interdependencies: knowledge, task, and goals. Knowledge basically captures the different types of skills or knowledge that you need to combine to be able to successfully complete this task. The task interdependence focuses on the subtask ordering or prioritization effects, the amount of workload that you have to navigate. And goal interdependence simply talks about how the different members are tied together to a common fate. Now, to the extent we understand how these interdependencies exist in the task environment, we can pre-design the team to achieve high performance. Although we do not live today in a world of assembly machines or assembly lines, right? In today's context, the nature of work is ill-defined. It is not knowable beforehand, or it is worse, frequently changing, which means it begs the question: do we design for high performance on a specific task, or do we design for high intelligence? In today's world, teams need to collectively sense and adapt to the changing complexities as they figure it out to maintain high performance. Hence, we argue that a team has to be designed for intelligence, that is adaptive performance. This realization brings us to our final question, right? If intelligent action involves adaptation, what is it that makes a team adaptive? How does this adaptation emerge within this team? This can be thought about as asking a couple of questions. One is, how does the team sense these changes in the task environment? And the second one is, after sensing them, how does it act? What are the self-regulatory functions within this team that allows for a coordinated response? Now, while asking this question or framing this question, we are making 2 assumptions, which our framework is based on. The first assumption is that teams are complex adaptive systems that are navigating task environments. And the second assumption is that the teams are composed of boundedly rational agents. What that means is these agents have a finite capacity for having skills, that is memory, or having attention. And they might also have subjective motivations, personal motivations, that this team needs to figure out. So let's jump in. Like, how does a team sense these changes? For this, we rely on an old theory that has been very effective on group effectiveness. What Hackman in this theory proposes, and it has been found to be very useful, is that there are 3 measurable process criteria that every group goes through, and that can be observed, that define how effective the group is. These process criteria are essentially the extent to which member skills are utilized, the extent to which the team engages in strategies for effectively managing the workload, managing the task, and finally, the level of collective effort that the team is able to put together. Being able to observe these 3 criteria, one can estimate the ability of the team to perform. What we contend is that as the task environment changes, one is able to see them, the team is able to observe the effects of those changes in these process criteria. If the knowledge interdependencies in the task increase, suddenly one would realize that the skills are not being utilized properly, or people are encountering tasks that they're not good at. Such an observation of process criteria might trigger the internal adaptive regulative systems. So what are these regulative systems is the next question. But before we jump into the functional regulative system, let's think about what is the function of such a team. The team has two generic functions, right? One is to efficiently utilize the finite resources and the distributed resources that you have in the team. And the second one, and more crucially, maintain these resources so that the team is able to function over time and get better over time. So in essence, what you can say is that the design problem of an intelligent team is to put together a heterogeneous set of members with finite skills and attention, as well as subjective goals, and have them coordinate in such a way so that they can respond to changing environments. In this line of thought, we are proposing three distinct socio-cognitive systems. So you can think about it as, instead of breaking down a team in terms of the members and the member interactions, we are taking a different perspective such that we are breaking down the team in three functions, in which each member and the associated transactive functions or interactive functions, processes are part of one function. The three functions are about transactive memory system, transactive attention system, and transactive reasoning system. Each one of them specifically targeting the coordination of those limited resources and maintaining them. Now, one can also think about these three systems as being very analogous to cognitive systems. In individual intelligence, what we know of individual intelligence, that our memory, our attentional control, and our reasoning are three big components of what makes us intelligent or allows us to be intelligent. Now, I will not dive into the depths of describing exactly how these three distinct systems emerge, but our framework, we dive deeper into all of these three things, like what are the individual level metacognitive abilities that the members need to have that will lead to some transactive or inter-member processes? What are the boundary conditions under which a particular function is going to be more useful than another? And what are the distinguishing observable team level outcomes that can be used to sense whether this particular memory system or attention system is well developed within a team? For example, if you think about transactive memory, which has been around for about 20 years or more now, is a set of metacognitive functions, that is, humans have meta memory, which allows them to figure out who is good at what. And based on that knowledge, they are able to allocate the tasks to the right experts. And as a consequence of relying on such a coordination system, a memory-based coordination system, you would see over time members in that team are specializing in specific skills. So there is high degree of specialization. You may pause and read up more, and I'm very happy to have more in-depth discussions about each one of these or any one of these as you feel fit. Now, we've talked about three different systems. One that allows to understand who knows what, one that figures out who is doing what, and finally, who needs what, the transactive reasoning system. In addition to, for these three systems, adapting to changing complexities in the task, they are also regulating each other. They are forming a dynamic equilibrium for those who come from a more systems background. For example, you can think about that TMS-based coordination might improve the skill use, but at the same time, relying on only one expert and assigning them all the tasks that are of a particular, require a particular expertise might end up creating bottlenecks within the team. On the other hand, thinking that a transactive attention system and coordinating based on who is available might not consider the skills of the team, or might attach poor mismatch of skills. Finally, you can also think about the transactive reasoning system. If a team is pursuing efficiency too much, it might end up alienating or disengaging their own members because it does not take care of fulfilling their needs. An intelligent team would essentially, if the need arises, will have to focus on long-term performance over short-term performance. So that is, give up its immediate needs for efficient coordination for fulfilling member needs periodically to maintain them. So that's basically where we are at. Our overall functional or transactive systems approach can be summarized in essentially three core propositions or a flow of logic. One can think that a boundedly rational agent, aware of its own limitations, will tend to rely on others to achieve a higher level of performance when facing tremendous complexity. Individuals in such a collective will develop metacognitive abilities that allows them to figure out and coordinate their limited resources of memory, attention, as well as their fulfilling their subjective needs. The collective that is behaving intelligently and coordinating these three things will exhibit the features of having three self-regulatory functional systems, which allows for adaptive change. While there are many key features that would be, themselves good to discuss, I want to highlight one in particular. That's the role of technology of AI. The way we are framing this approach, it does not preclude AI as agents. So you can have specialized AIs that are really good at specific skills and be accounted for as members of this team and can be used to coordinate. Moreover, you don't have to rely on high-level AI. You can also use low-level intelligence technologies to either offload or scaffold different parts of the cognitive processes or socio-cognitive processes that have been described. Our approach, because it lays out all the different parts of it and how they interact, we can also then use the technology to make and intervene and help teams be more intelligent over time. Thank you. That is our thing, and we're very happy to have discussions. Please reach out to me through the CI platform or on my email. Thank you.